Welcome to the Inside Neverwinter Minicast, Episode 1. This is a shortened version of the Inside Neverwinter podcast, usually used to fill in times when we aren't able to scrounge together content for a full-fledged podcast show. Now, if you'll notice, this episode is coming out in the middle of the week and is about half the week too late, according to our previous release schedules. We want to apologize about that. We're going to get into that at the top of the show here. As you know, I am DJTakuya, and at the top of the show I want to give out a few shout-outs. One in particular goes out to the first partner of the show, the Silent Blade PvP Guild, hailing from the Beholder server. The Silent Blade is the #1 PvP guild from Beholder, and proud partner of the Inside Neverwinter podcast. You can find a link to at facebook.com/thesilentbladebehold. We are proud to partner with them in part of promoting the show and promoting the guild. Please check them out if you are interested. And also shoutouts are going to go out to Marty Waldrop, the creator of the fine foundry we featured last time. Left a comment on the video saying thanks for the review, as well as Cathra241 for their subscription and comments on the podcast. Just to touch base with you briefly, we could not record an episode of the show this weekend. I'm sorry for that. Jdog came down with the flu abruptly on Saturday, and Sunday didn't work out for us. I did just start a part-time job that's kept me fairly busy in terms of filling up extra time that I usually would have had to write show notes and set up to record, coordinate schedules, and those kinds of things to get the show. So we want to apologize that we aren't producing a full-fledged show, but we are dedicated to producing something for you each week to keep you up to date and to bring you the news. I want to say, for what usually would be the state of the game, that I've been really hard on Neverwinter, especially last time. And that's because it's become my game. It's the action MMORPG I was looking for that simplified the action bar and abilities and made 5 progression content. I ask a lot from it because I know how much greater it could be, but I also know how great it currently is in the current state of things. It's the game that was good enough to make me quit WoW. The game that proved that you can have interesting questing. The game that didn't artificially slow down the leveling process. It has a great profession system, a great economy. It hasn't always been, but now is truly free to play and not pay to win. The classes are dynamic. There's room for role playing, custom content to do forever with the Foundries. Neverwinter is truly a great game, and I just want to talk about that. You know, I come from a background of World of Warcraft, some Champions Online, a tiny bit of City Heroes for like 2 or 3 weeks one time that I really loved. I just didn't have the money for. You know, it was between for me that and WoW as far as money went, and I had to go with WoW. WoW was what was where I knew people, so I didn't want to jump into an MMO not knowing anyone and miss out on the social aspect of an MMO. Now, when it came to Neverwinter, I wasn't really afraid of that. Just to give you some background, I started playing Neverwinter in late July, one Saturday night. I was browsing an MMO website that compiles lots of MMO reviews and things in one place, and what I found was just a little bit of content and like one review video for Neverwinter, and at the time I was really sick of WoW's action bars, abilities just everywhere. It was July, which meant the middle of it was close to the end of a raid tier. I had just gotten into a raiding guild 2 months before, gotten into the raiding roster and started doing raids every week. And eventually it just ground on me being in that team with those people and the kind of etiquette I observed. It just bothered me to play the game after that. I just didn't want to log into that game. So I started looking at other games, and I had been playing another game called Vindictus, which is another action MMO that has virtually no toolbars. Everything is just like a hack and slash. It's really good, but it just wasn't the game for me. So I was playing that for a while, and when I discovered Neverwinter, I took it on. Just dived head first into it and loved every minute. Created my Guardian Fighter and didn't look back. Over the course of a couple weeks, I was just playing, leveling, looking for groups every time I would finish a questing zone that I had actually enjoyed, and paid attention to the quest through because of the voice acting. And it was through the first dungeon I did called Cloak Tower that I met Jdog. Now, at the time, Jdog was level 60, and the group I was running with was about level 20. We were doing the Cloak Tower together. We just gathered from zone chat. And Jdog was an area, and we were looking for one more, and we couldn't find anyone, and Jdog volunteered to come and run us through it. While I wasn't exactly keen on not being the tank, because him being there would mean he would be the tank, I was interested in seeing it nonetheless, so invited him to party, and we got into it, and we ran this through real quick. Now, you probably know, when you get done with a dungeon, you get the option to add to friends list everyone in the party. So, everyone is still in the party at the end, that is. So I friend listed everybody in the party, and Jdog was who I started talking to regularly. And over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks, I started thinking about how there wasn't any. I started looking for a podcast for the game. No one was doing one. No one made any kind of audio show I could listen to once a week about how the game was, what their opinions are, what they thought of the game in general, just some insights into it that maybe I wasn't getting on my own, or from people who were currently in zone chat, spamming for a group or spamming for an item. And it was then that I kind of decided that I really wanted a podcast, even if I had to be the one who made it. So, with the help from Jdog, some encouragement from Jdog, I pitched the idea to him, and he went for it. I couldn't think of a name, and so I asked Jdog. I said, Jdog, what are we gonna name this show we want to do? And he said, well, I don't know. He's like, what about Inside Neverwinter with DJTakuya and Jdog? And I'm like, I don't know how you did it, but you just made a really good title. So the podcast was born. From there, we started recording. We made our first episode one Saturday night. Again, Saturdays. The week before Fear the Feywild launched, Module 1 hit. And so we were talking about all the kind of stuff that was coming up. And if you've listened to the podcast, you know all that. But the game changed for me after that. I was always looking for something to talk about. I didn't always have to look far. Sometimes it was as simple as logging in, and sometimes it was as simple as checking forums. Sometimes it did take some play before I actually started to get things. Here more recently, I've really had to look for reasons to play. That's partly why I was so harsh on the game last week. With the progress I've been making in Sharandar, and the kind of the kind of place I'm in right now, I'm almost done with what I was doing. I mean, the thing that was keeping me going, it was the boons, and I know people harp on them as being useless, but they're working for them too. To me, I feel like just a blank stat boost that doesn't require you to replace anything you already have, like a piece of gear would be, or a buff that would wear off, or that would be consumable. I felt they were worth it, even if they weren't that great. So I wanted to go for them. And now that I'm getting close to the point where I'm not really going to need to do it anymore, because I basically just need to log in tonight and do one round of quests and unlock the fourth tier boon, and then I'll do maybe 2 weeks of it, of logging in every day and doing the Battle for Sharandar daily to get sparks, and then I'll have it. I'll have the 5th boon, and I'll be done. What kind of distresses me is not really that it falls into another kind of low state where all games have something like that. What bugs me is just that I get to the point in my gaming experience where I'm able to make a little money over time. by getting coalescent wards out of the coffer at the end of a weekend invoking and selling it for 100k, just real quick and easy. Because that's the level of involvement I have. If it takes too much time, I'm probably not doing it. It's just the kind of gamer I am. I game at night, and I don't have a lot of time at night. So that's what. Jeez, it's late. Sorry about that. So that's the kind of play I've been getting lately, and that's probably why I've been getting a little harsh on it. But Neverwinter is still a good game. Neverwinter has a lot to do as far as leveling alts. Start all over again, which a brand new class after playing my Guardian Fighter for so long is neat. I've tried them all by now: the Cleric, the Rogue, the Wizard, and the Great Weapon Fighter. I have to say, out of them all, I think my favorite is still the Cleric. I just may have to go solo PvE spec Cleric or always group or something. But gosh, I really guess I just want to say that Neverwinter is still a great game. I don't think for 1 minute that it's not great. There's just aspects that I hope improve, like Foundry rewards and other things. In that vein, just things that I feel need a tweak. Things that have just come up after so long. So, apologies if I sound a bit down on the game. It's just the nature of how I think I'm always hoping for improvement. Now, the only thing in the news this week is that Cryptic announced the day after the last podcast, a week and a half ago, that the shard merge we had heard about would be happening last Tuesday. It was, and as of recording this, it's now been a week. I haven't really noticed a difference in the auction house market, in the economy on the AH, but it will be nice to see, nice to be on one unified server. All three servers, Dragon, Mindflayer, and Beholder. I'm sure Cryptic had their reasons for splitting up the shards at first, but it's nice to see they're together now. Having separate realms, I do acknowledge that helps give variety for some aspects of gameplay. Different shards have different economies, and merging them didn't affect it as much as players thought they would, based on discussion in chats and forums. It also... having separate realms does allow different communities to develop, given their own space. So, like our partner, the Silent Blade on Beholder, they were allowed to flourish there. One of the other servers, I think it was Mindflayer, became known as a roleplay server. Dragon became the big server that most everyone came to play on, I think. I don't just say that because I play there. That's how it seems. Different shards had different rates on the Astral Diamond Zen Exchange, so that's again different economy. But now that they're all unified, a bit of that uniqueness goes away, and you have to conglomerate all the communities in one. That does provide everyone in one place, so guilds aren't split up. Say you had a guild on one server and friends on another shard, and you wanted to go play with those friends, and they were guildless, and they totally wanted to join your guild, but they just couldn't. Well, now they can. Not that that's happened to anybody I know, but it's just I'm looking for the positive here, since the drive lately has been to go to the negative. But that's really all I wanted to talk about. I don't intend for this to be a full-fledged show. Just enough time to fill you in on the news and cover everything that needed to be talked about. So, dear God, I hope I'm recording. And, well, if that's it, thank you for listening. Tune in this week. We are going to be doing another full-fledged episode. Well, the minicast will come up occasionally, but usually every week you should be seeing a full-fledged podcast show. So that's all for me. Thanks for listening. If you're interested in hearing more of my voice, seeing what I've been doing on my Cleric or an Attack on Titan, check those videos out. I promise you more are coming soon. But that's all for now. So thanks for listening. Have a great week, Neverwinters. We will see you on Thursday.